clear of that simple fact that you're not, you're fucked basically, and you're not managerial quality. So the best course would be not touching, let's say, mood altering stuff. For how long? I don't know. How about today? Yeah, just or this hour or something. And because obviously living under the giant shadow of this huge elephant, the head just keeps pointing everything else out as the problem. Yeah. But in fact, yeah, it's this giant elephant in the room. And once you address that and you get aligned with those facts, and those facts in my life was I'm not managerial quality, and I'm powerless over what I'm powerless over what's going to happen when I ingest shit. Yes. That's a fact. It was a fact, even though I was denying it for years, it was still a fact. And then I came into compliance with it through this program, through the experience of being convinced, the event of being convinced. Yeah. And then once you're convinced, it opens you up for other possibilities. Yeah. So it's almost like returning to there which you never left. And it takes these certain conditions, and those conditions in the beginning in recovery are called being convinced. Yeah. So they describe what it's like to be an alcoholic. They describe this, they describe that, with the hopes that you identify with their diagnosis. And if you are, it can easily lead you to being convinced because the evidence is there. There's tons of evidence. It's just being collated differently by the head. Yeah. Once it floods in, this is what happened. Like, I went to that first meeting. I was brought there by a woman, and it was a men's meeting. So she dropped me off. She promised she'd pick me back up, which I was a little concerned about that. Because then my whole life would have been, I would have started in a Salvation Army place, because that's where the men's meeting was. Probably would never have left, and I'd be working at a Salvation Army thrift store, maybe. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Hopefully I'd be sober. But the thing is, so I went in there, and what did I feel? I felt hope. Yeah. After a few minutes, I felt hope. What did feeling hope allow me to feel? The hopelessness. Yeah. When I believed it was hopeless, the head did not want me to feel that hopelessness. Yeah, it wanted to avoid it at all fucking costs. But when I felt the hope, it gave me permission, yeah, to really feel what I needed to feel, which was hopeless. Yeah. So the allowance of the hopelessness was triggered by the feeling of hope. Yeah. And this is the beauty of our message. There is a solution, which should fuel a lot of whatever you want to call it, hope or possibility, let's say. Yeah, because hope can be used in a weird way down the road, but let's say possibility. So the greatest message in recovery is there is a solution. Yeah, because it opens up, wait a minute. So, because a lot of times when you've been out on there, on those runs, you're probably not at your high point, near the end. You have no money. You'll drink almost anything just to get out of yourself. Yeah, I would someone say, take LSD. I would, because I knew it would take a couple hours of my time. Yeah, walking around San Francisco. It was just do anything to sort of distract myself from the condition it was in. Yeah, it was insane. And it sucked a lot. Yeah, can you imagine having to drink malt liquor? Did you ever taste that shit and drink it? It fucking deadens a lot of brain cells quickly. I swear. I used to take a bus. We were all sitting in the back, and everyone was drinking malt liquor, Schlitz malt liquor, to go to their whatever their job was or whatever in Oakland. And it was like you could feel the dumbing down. It was like getting like molasses of malaise dropping in. It was really weird. And it was like 70 cents for like a 16-ounce thing. You know, they would give it to you probably. And it was, you could only drink like one or two of them. It was like you would be dumbed down like that. Incredible. Yeah. I was all for it. I did not hesitate 1 second when the guy said, "You want a Schlitz malt liquor?" Sure. Yeah, because I had fucking nothing else and I wanted to distract myself from the unbearability of being Paul. Yeah, it made a lot of sense. But geez, I mean, I just was on the phone. Hey, do you mind when we already started, Mike? I was on the phone to the other day. A perfect example, this young guy in recovery called me and he's sober. So he called me before he drank. Yeah. And we were talking and stuff like this. And he's got a lot of possibilities because he's not drinking. They're available. Okay. Yeah, you can go to a different meeting. You can do this, you can do that. While he's talking, I get a call from another guy I know. I've known this guy. I'm not going to give a name, but it was very interesting. I met him when I was 21 years sober and he was 21 years old. He was born the day I got sober. So life had me meet him, and very, as many of us are, very, very cool, a lot of potential. And then he was getting loaded, obviously, and he went back out. And now it's been 15 years. I'm now 36 years sober, and he's still going through this shit. Yeah. So he calls me after he got loaded, and the other guy called me before he got loaded. Yeah. The guy who called me after he got loaded had very, very few possibilities. He was already in a place, yeah, to keep him somewhat safe. So he's in some kind of rehab or detox or whatever. Yeah. And basically, his future road isn't broad, so to speak. Yeah. If he doesn't do a couple of things, he's not going to do almost anything else. The other kid, tons of possibilities. And it was a perfect example of a thing I share, which is, the difference between an alcoholic and a recovered alcoholic is the recovered alcoholic calls you before they drink. The alcoholic calls you after they drink. Yeah. And after the drink, there's not much. Yes. You got to get on the same horse, the same carousel. Yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of people who keep going in and out, the in and out is the way of life. They're not really in but they're really out. So the in and out ain't working. They've got a lot of knowledge, like it says, self-knowledge concerning this simple topic. And that self-knowledge is availing them nothing. Yeah. Because they're powerless and they're not convinced of that. Literally. Yeah. Now, I don't know how, if we could get, make a pill that could, I don't care about stopping drinking a pill. I mean, being convinced pill. I think a being convinced pill would be so much better, and because it would apply to a lot of other stuff. Yeah. Having the ability to be convinced that something's not fucking working. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's this, and maybe it's that, and not stay because of the fear of what it will be like if you leave, because you're listening to that which is playing God tell you every fucking thing in your life, and then you're frozen in fear, and then you basically have to have a fucking passive aggressive resentment towards that person who isn't doing fucking anything to you. You should have been moving out. Yes. And if you're a guy, usually what you'll do, you'll just push it to the edge where she finally makes a decision, because you're a coward. You don't want to be the one that breaks the shit up, but you want it broken up. So you just fucking shit all over it. And then finally she's had enough. And then you get the permission to leave after you've burnt down fucking Atlanta like Sherman, It's insane. I mean, do you think these mechanisms are actually working? So we get to a level of being convinced. The first one, obviously, is concerning the effects of alcohol and drugs on us and the unmanageability of that which is trying to manage our life, that which is playing God. Yeah. That's the first. But then there's a lot of being convinced that goes down the road. Yeah. Yeah. And it's unbelievable when you cease fighting anyone or everything, that mental tributary has dried up. And you're convinced of that, and the space is open. Yeah. Life can take another form and another direction in your life. So I hope, this is what I tell people who are new. I said, I would pray, please give me the ability to be convinced. Yeah. So you're just done with this shit. Yeah. Done before you're done. Yeah. So I was lucky because it was a severe, almost cathartic thing, getting waxed sober. And then there was one hurrah where I tried to talk the woman into getting loaded, and she didn't. And that was pretty much the last, rebel yell from the alcoholism for 36 years. Now it still has a voice, but it hasn't had that yell ever since. Yeah. So it was very clear and the contrast was incredible. I was listening to the head, and then the spirit infused itself, and I heard some other information. And then it set off the train of circumstances that brought me to that meeting that night. And that was the beginning of recovery for me. And that miracle that started it, I humbly believe that it would have died on the vine unless I was introduced to a way of life. Now, I don't know where you are, but I cross what we call a real alcoholic or a real addict. I am in that category. And if you are in that category, it's very important to know what that category entails. Yeah, there are some facts in that category that anyone that's in that category is not going to escape. It's just the way it goes. You can't undo what's been done, so to speak. You cross the line and there's no back crossing it, in a sense. Yeah. And it's beautiful in a way because you can put a lot of shit to rest. Yeah. Because it's like, boom, that's it. That whole aspect of living is over. I'm in another aspect of living. Yes, great. Yeah. So wherever you are, hopefully you have some trust, or maybe not even trust yet. That may have to come from evidence, but maybe you'll have trust in some people in AA that can give you suggestions, because the way you're looking at it is part of the problem at the moment. Yes. If you're new. Yeah. The way you look at shit is part of the shit. It's a big part of it. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Yes. The certainty of being sober is very contagious. It's very powerful. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't get fooled. I mean, I've met alcoholism in a lot of different camouflage, but you can tell it pretty quickly. Yes. And unfortunately, I haven't met that many people. I met a lot of alcoholism and addiction in my life in sobriety. Yeah. But I know there's a person in there. There is something, I don't want to call it a person. I know there's something in there. Yeah. And they're just being poorly represented by this fucking head. So, yeah. So you want to read anything, Mike, or anyone? What?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that welcome everybody to the Reflections on Paul Hedderman. Just as a friendly announcement that this is not an all shares meeting, nor is it an AA meeting, nor is it sanctified by AA in any way, shape, or form. It's just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong is described on page 64 of the big book. And I was going to bring up in the big book, they talk on page 7, on page 39, on page 40 and 42, this thing about self-knowledge. And I've heard you say several times before, and you just kind of brought it up just now, that self-knowledge and in the book, it also says self-knowledge. It's surely that was the answer, self-knowledge, but it was not. And then you talk about that self-knowledge isn't going to save us from this disease, but knowledge of self. And if you could talk about perhaps the difference of those two and how they work, and kind of riff on that a little bit, Paul, and then
Yeah.
we can open shares. Thanks.
Yeah. And so in one way, self-knowledge would be, the evidence would be the knowledge, and it would be selves. Self would claim the knowledge. Yeah. That's not working. Yeah. Knowledge of self would be part of the evidence. You're now looking at self, not from self. And you'll see that self has been the culprit, like it is suggested and implied quite a lot in the big book. Yeah. And hopefully, not only the idea of self as being what has defeated us, but a feeling of its foreignness. Yeah. Because how it defeats us is through its manifestations, but how that is made available is the act of being identified as it. Yeah. So if Steve was manifesting through me as Paul, and I called every manifestation of Steve through me Paul's, I would be in the act of being identified as Steve. Yes. Yeah. So this is the dilemma. The act of being identified is it's like the miracle glue that doesn't have any adhesive quality. It just seems to be so. It appears to be so, almost as if we're in a trance. Yeah. So it's very clear self has defeated us if you look at it. And if you do the inventory and you read page 64 as one way of doing the inventory, and what the purpose of the inventory is, and what the desired recognition is, you're going to see self is what has defeated you. Yeah. Now, if you keep seeing it as you're open up to that defeat. Yeah. And it's tricky because you feel like, oh, that knowledge is enough, but it's not enough. You have to know, you have to have some knowledge of self, and to see the knowledge of self is that it's foreign and it's derived in the mental activity, where the AA says it, the problem resides in the mind. Exactly. Yeah. So you get a good diagnosis. It fits all the evidence you have. Yeah. That you've amassed over the years and years. It fits the evidence. It emphasizes different things than when self is inquiring into itself. Yeah. It shows a lot different information. And then that is going to open you up to being convinced. Yeah. And when you're convinced self has what has defeated us, which says it is that requirement on page 64, being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. So what's our role there? Being convinced. Yeah. That's our role of what? Of self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Very simple, sequence. Your role is to be convinced. Yeah. Now, if life hasn't done it, and listening to all these other people that have been under the same tyranny that you have been under, if that doesn't do it, I don't know. I leave it to the greatest convincer, which is life. Life is going to convince you sooner or later. Yeah, I believe. So, and then, all right, we're convinced that this thing has defeated this thing, and this thing and this thing are different things, let's say. And this is what opened the door for me when I saw self as foreign. It opened up the possibility I could be free from it, which had been handcuffed because I was trying to be free as self. I don't know how clear I can say this. Yeah, I'm going to repeat it again. Without me knowing it, I was living in an activity that brought a lot of frustration and disappointment, which was self trying to get out of self. That was it. I didn't know this identification as self was going on. I had no idea. I was assuming me was trying to get out of me somehow. Some bad part of me, a good part of me was wanting to get out of, let's say. Yeah. I had no idea that what's trying to get out of self and what self it wants to get out of are the same thing. I had no fucking idea until I did. And when I did, I've never lost that idea ever since. I saw self in a flash as foreign to me. It did not erase the defeat. It was clear I had been defeated, and it's clear that I would continue to be defeated unless I saw something. And what I needed to see, and I hope will work with you, is I needed to see that which has defeated me as foreign to me. Yeah. One of the first vague ways I had a feeling of it was realizing alcoholism is a disease. That was helpful, but it went farther. It did. And I realized that which has defeated me is not me. Hallelujah. Yeah. To me, this is a solution. Really, a real solution. And when you run into a real solution, all the activities that keep things away from you and not know shit open up, and you can really have a fearless and thorough inventory on something that you're not. Yeah. And I've been following this direction. This happened really galvanized in my 7th year of sobriety. It was cooking for a while, but then it galvanized around that 7-year time. And now it's been the last answer since then. Yeah. I haven't gotten a new answer concerning what has defeated me and its exact nature of the wrong. So I feel pretty confident, and I just put it out there. Yeah. Hopefully it works for you. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? If you're already sober, why not? Let's expand the possibility of relief. Yeah. Why do I just want to have relief only from drinking and using? I'd like to have relief from me. I would. Yeah. 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 Some people stopping drinking and using is enough, but for some other people it ain't. It wasn't for me. The irritability, restlessness, and discontent was not caused by the drinking and using. Yeah. It wasn't. There was something underlying this obsession or ideation of self, which was causing the dis-ease, the irritability, the restlessness. The drinking and using got me out of a lot of fucking trouble, and didn't lead me to get it back in that trouble, which allowed me the time to really get down to the underlying causes and conditions. Yes? Yeah. And that's where I think recovery, there's a lot of things we recover from. And I feel recovery progresses. Yeah. And you'll know it when you get relief from the real problem. You will. It's different than not drinking and using, for sure. Yeah. You have it. It doesn't, it's just not a knot. Yeah. It adds. Yeah. You feel that conscious presence, you feel the new power flow in. All this stuff starts to happen. Yeah. And then you're fed instead of starving and looking for yourself to try to fill it up. You're fed now. You're satisfied and content, and you're really available to be used. Yeah. Yeah. To be of service. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the point. If I would have heard this in AA meetings, I wouldn't have emphasized it so much, but I didn't. I went around the world, I didn't hear it. I've been in a thriving, recovering community, San Francisco. I got sober here, and and yet I've gone to a lot of meetings. I never heard a clear description of what the fuck has defeated me, and how and why and what the fuck it is. It didn't. Yeah. And I felt it was it's a big glaring hole that it's good to fill, I feel. Yeah. And the idea of still being bound to the past after 40 years of recovery, that recovery seems to be selective to me. I would say the recovery should have an aspect of being freed from the past, where you're not carrying guilt and shame around all day. Yeah. Based on this premise that if it came through you, you must have done it. I feel like you must realize now that you get taken over by a lot of shit. You get taken over by being hungry. You get taken over by a lot of stuff all day. Yeah. But why is this sacrosanct to see that, yeah, after you did your inventory and made your amends and took responsibility, let's not just freeze that. Let's be open to a next wave of recovery, is to see what's truly accountable for our defeat, which is self, not us. Yeah. And I believe if you do a fourth column and look at your role in things, you're going to see self's role in things. You are, yeah. And then you're going to know truly that it was true what they were saying. Self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. It's a very clear statement. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. And all this is because we're sober. Yeah. Because there is a solution. Would you want to talk about this if there wasn't a solution? No, you'd be fucking busy watching Die Hard 13 or something, trying to just distract yourself every second of the day because you're in a hopeless state of mind and body. We're not in a hopeless state of mind and body. It's a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Means it appears to be true or false to us. So you change the us by not seeing it as not self. Yeah. A lot of shit that appear to be true to you as self will not appear to be true to you as us. It won't. Yeah. You're going to have some discrimination around the false evidence that constantly gets presented. Yeah. And doesn't it say the false evidence is presented and it leads to a decision based on self that sets off trains of circumstances that bring us misfortune that we felt we didn't deserve? Yeah. A decision based on self doesn't sound like it was your decision. It would have said your decision. Why would it have to say, you know what I mean? If I did it, am I going to go into, there was a decision based on self? No, I'd say I did it. I made a decision, but it's saying something else. This decision was based on something else, doesn't it? Isn't that what the language implies? A decision based on self means something that happened is going to trigger an action through me wasn't coming from me. I was being directed by self. I don't know, maybe I'm reading it differently, but it just, to me, it's so damn obvious. If there's decisions based on self, they're not based on us. Because it already made it very clearly defined. Self is what has defeated us. Yeah. So obviously, if a decision was based on self, it wasn't based on us. I don't know how the foreignness of the nature of the wrong can evade us, our recognition. It's written all over the book. Self-imposed crises, like Kurt always says, self-imposed crises. He thought they were his crises. He imposed it on himself, but no, self imposed something on us. Yeah. Self has imposed a lot on us. And I'm using the word self. I don't even believe there's a self. I think it's selfing. It's a mental fucking activity that's like Hal in 2001. It's taken over the mission. It is. Yeah. You want to be free from it? I don't think so, Bill. It just, wow. So this is how I see it. I do. You know, they say self-knowledge avails us nothing, and they're specifically talking about alcoholism. Like, you know you're fucked, but you're still not unfucked. Yeah. But self-knowledge avails us nothing in a lot of levels. Yeah. But knowledge of self is very, 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 very important. Yeah. Because knowledge of self will lead to you recognizing it's not you. So that's incredible. Because I believe the act of being identified as it is really the root of the problem. So yeah, if anything leads you to being free from that root, I'm all for. And I think the seeing it as foreign to you is very important. Yeah. And check it out. If you keep calling resentments yours, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's say you're going, I do anything to get rid of this resentment, yet you keep calling it yours. Yeah, it's like cognitive dissonance. You're bringing it in, but going, no, I don't want it. It's just crazy. I mean, seriously, people love their fear. They write stories about it. They make tons of phone calls about it. Yeah. Fear, fuck fear, but my fear, shit, it's fucking, it's a backbone of my narrative for my life. Yeah. What am I going to do if I'm not in fear? Yeah. So I just singing to the choir, man. I'm just going to keep singing to the choir. Yeah. 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 All right.
I love it, Paul. Fear, the backbone of my narrative to my life. That's fantastic.
Well, a lot of
What
people it is. Jesus Christ. A fear has metastasized that they ran into when they were a kid, and it's part of their image now. Yeah. I mean, shit. Yeah. Well, yeah. Don't we do it all the time? The word my changes whatever comes after it. Just get to know this. I don't know what in other languages, but in the English language, my is a transfer of meaning. Yeah. And if we're in the act of being identified as self, this is how self transfers meaning to things in our life. The thing in our life, and it may be its manifestations that are called mine, self puts a lot of meaning through that. Yeah. So money, my money. You don't change a letter of the word money, but my money, like I always say, I wish everyone here to have a lot of money, but I don't want you to have any of my money. Yeah. The my changes the meaning of money. Not the money hasn't been changed, the same letters, same this and that, but the my changes it. This is the bondage of self, and this is the point of freedom from the bondage of self. Yeah. Stop calling its manifestation yours. Let's try it. Yeah. And maybe you'll be able to do a fearless inventory. You are not going to do a fearless inventory if that which you're inventorying is seen as yours. There's going to be a vested interest. Yeah. Because who the hell wants to look like a fucking failure and shit like that? Yes. Really. That's why they try to present the inventory as a business inventory to try to get some of that personalness out of it. Because you're not going to do, if I'm the person who bought the 500 pairs of elephant jeans and no, they have not sold and they're taking up a lot of space, I'm not going to be fearless about taking an inventory on that shit. Yeah. Because I could get fired. So yeah, there's a lot of shit that comes. But if I see they're not my elephant jeans, I can be brutally honest. No one's buying them. It was a big mistake, and let's move on. Yeah, yeah. It's shit. It's I mean, I remember I used the elephant jeans because my friend had a clothes store when we were growing up in the 70s, late 60s, and he had elephant jeans, bells. And I remember the first time he wore them, I said, they ain't going anywhere. they're just, they're just, no, bro. But I bought them already, 500 pair. I said, well, you got to get a seamstress, make them bell bottoms or flares, but the elephants, no, it's not going to work. Yeah. He never talked to me about those big elephant bells ever. So after that. He wasn't going to do a fearless and thorough inventory because he was involved. Yes, he was involved. But when you look at it as self, you'll be able to tell, have a fearless and thorough inventory on self. You will, because it's not you. Yeah. And it has defeated you. Yeah. Oh, this has worked. It's worked with me. And you know what? I meet a lot of people where shit isn't working. Seriously. Yeah. What are you going to do? You know, the alcoholism and the addiction, if you look at statistics, we're not winning, so to speak. Yes. This infection hides very well. Yeah. And it breeds very well. And in its view, the last thing it wants you to know is its role in things. Yeah. It wants you to keep believing it's their role in things and your role in things. It does not want you to see that it's its role in things. Yeah. That has defeated you. Why? Because it can be free. You can be free from it. Yeah. It's not an appendage. It's not your left leg. Yeah. You can be free of it. What is that going to look like? Traveling lighter. What is that going to look like? I don't know. It has many ways to express itself, but the basis will be you'll be trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So there you go. Just, anyone, Mike? Yeah.
No, if anybody has any questions or comments on this topic or any topics on the 12 steps with Paul, please use the raise hand feature. And we have a quiet group today, Paul.
Great.
Quiet.
I just have a comment. I'm driving my car, but I just wanted to unmute and make a comment if you don't mind. It's Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi. Oh, I just wanted to tell you that I absolutely love my elephant bells with my platform shoes.
Oh, you do? Great. Yeah. Well,
No, I did back in the day when I was a teenager, I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let your freak flag fly.
I just wanted to tell you that. Oh, and I came just to hang in the lion's den because I'm a lion. I just want to hang out.
Oh, that's good, honey. Yes, that's great. Yep. You're in the pride. Yes. Yeah. Have you ever seen the lion sleeping? They're pretty assured that they're okay. Yes. They're just rolling around, hanging out until they get hungry again. They don't seem to be worried. Are we going to be fed? No, they seem to be enjoying being fed. And then they'll
That's
be
what they
hungry.
are.
Yeah, so
I'm a lion.
we're lying. Yeah. My freak flag is flying at half mast now. It's been permanently put down. Yeah. The freak flag attracted too much undue attention. Yeah. Gotta play it. What? It's funny.
And the other thing that happened today is maybe just one more thing is that I was driving along and all of a sudden it was an hour later. So I hurried up and put the windows down and took some deep breaths because I figured, oh man, everything's going to feel different now.
I'm happy. I'm happy, honey. Drop in anytime. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathleen. Paul, we have a hand raised with Terry S. Hello, Terry.
Hey, good to see everybody here, and thank you, Paul. One of the things that amazed me when you talked about traveling lighter, when I look back on my own experience in AA, I keep going back to that, whatever you want to call it, promise in 10, which says that the problem has been removed, i.e., the problem is lighter. I am traveling lighter, and it just amazes me because I don't know when that happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. And, I tend to think that it happened because I did the stuff that was indicated in the book or in the fellowship. But that just, I like that concept of traveling lighter because it's not a problem anymore unless I pick it up and drink it.
Yes.
And anyway, that's my thoughts on. It's always good to see you and hear you, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the chair. Yeah. I don't agree with one of those statements in the book that alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful, whatever. Alcohol is fucking a liquid. It's alcoholism that's cunning, powerful, and baffling, whatever. Yeah. Alcohol's not doing shit. You can be at peace with alcohol. It may be harder with alcoholism, but you can come to peace with alcohol easily. Alcoholism is another story. Yeah. So, yeah, the traveling lighter. Because see, AA is incredible. It goes pretty deep because it goes to the basis of your life. A 3-day retreat isn't going to reach the basis of your life. A 3-day retreat, it could, but very rarely is it going to change your attitude and outlook of life. Yeah, it's possible. But this way of life sort of almost promises that. Yeah. You're going to have a new attitude and a new outlook, a new freedom and a new happiness. Yeah. It's not going to be like how the head thinks attitude and outlook and freedom and happiness and all this shit. Yeah. Because it's going to be new. It's not coming from the system that we have been relying on all these years. It's going to be a present from another system. Yeah. And we're going to be under a new basis. Yeah, that's incredible. Attitude, outlook. We talk about experiences and stuff, but if you really see, attitude and outlook is much more influential than experience, obviously. Yeah. It has a much more profound impact than, oh, we're going to change your experience today. We were masters of doing that. We were masters of changing how we felt, but we had a complete inability of changing the attitude or outlook because our attitude and outlook was from self-centeredness. Yeah. Now we have a different attitude and outlook. And that's getting pretty much to the core of this event. Yeah. This event of living, there's a lot of dances that can happen on that dance floor, but attitude and outlook is like the dance floor. Yeah. That it's pretty getting there. It's getting close to fundamental shit down there. So this is what AA offers. You're going to have a new freedom and a new happiness, a new attitude, a new outlook. The problem will not exist for you. It would happen without any thought or effort on your part. Fucking great. You've been placed in a position of neutrality. Hallelujah. Yeah. And a lot of people, they not only read that description, when they read that description, it triggers a recognition of those descriptions because they have been changed. Just like the people that followed the big book in AA and the 12 steps and the higher power were changed in the 30s. We've been changed in the 2020s. Yeah. Yeah. And because we're recovering from the same thing, the effects can look very similar. And now instead of identifying with the problem, we identify with the solution. Yeah. That's our community, which is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So perhaps there's a better way. And then there's warnings about that better way. Yeah. And one of the warnings is, if that which is playing God is playing God, if when you try to trust the infinite, that's trusting finite self. Just the way it goes. Yeah. So you lose trust in the finite self, and you gain interest in the infinite. Yeah. You don't have to look to gain interest in the infinite. Just lose interest in self. And then you're going to gain interest in the infinite. Yeah. 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 There's not another self you're going to gain interest in. There's basically two paths, so to speak, from the AA view, which is either trusting finite self or trusting the infinite. Is there any other options? No, really. Is there any other, are these the only two doors? I thought I was on, let's make a deal. The third door. No, there's not a third door. It's either trusting finite self or trusting the infinite. Yeah. Like Jesus said, he didn't say you can't serve 23 masters at the same time. He says you can't serve two masters at the same time. So it's not that difficult. It's either this or that. It's not like I want either this and I want a little bit of that and a little bit of another this. No, it's either this or that. Yeah. Now, which way are you leaning? Are you leaning this way or that way? Yeah. What AA does, it causes you to lean into the infinite and out of the finite. That's all. Self just wants you to be fucking sucked right into the finite. Yeah. But AA leans you the other way. And then you obviously, we're 2 levels above a coconut. We observe the effects, and then we start having a lot of gratitude and honor and awe. I just don't see, we're seeing the accountability of self as the lower power. We're giving all gratitude to the higher power that's keeping us sober. Well, what was not keeping us sober? We should give some accountability to that. Yeah. Instead of taking all the blame, let's put the blame where it's due. Yeah, and be free from that fucking guilt and shame from the past. Didn't you realize when I got surprised by an amends once, and I swear to God, when the lady pulled my pants down, basically, in front of people I was trying to impress, and said I owed her $500, and then she had gained some weight, I didn't recognize her. I got caught there with my pants down, but I didn't feel any guilt or shame because I had gotten the idea of this is a disease. And I said to her what I really believed, which was, I would have done what I did to you to anyone unless you could physically stop me, basically. I was running amok. It wasn't personal. You were there, I ran you over. If it was someone else, I would have run them over. Unless you could have stopped me physically, I would do it. Yeah. This was the beginning of revelations. Yeah. I saw stuff, and then I saw more of this stuff, and then I saw more of the stuff, and it brought me to a point of being convinced just by the revelation of the stuff that was already there. Like Chuck Chamberlain, out of that book, A New Pair of Glasses. Recovery gave me a new pair of glasses. So I could see the accumulation of this life in a different way than I was looking at it from self. Yeah. And this different way brought me relief, not bondage. It brought me relief, not bondage. The same evidence that was being used to bind me, seeing it in a new way brought relief. Yeah. Yeah. So wherever you are, if there's advice and suggestions wherever you are in recovery. If it's new, get your externals down. Get commitment at a meeting, go to meetings, share every once in a while, let people know actually who you're not really, and shit like that. Yeah. And these suggestions are solid. Tons of people have followed them and they've worked. Yeah. Not going to surprise you with a very new one. The suggestions are, yeah. Try to practice these principles in all your affairs. If you can't, limit the affairs. Like this one guy I was on the phone with, I said, listen, you're at the point where you need to be chained and handcuffed in a room. You got to go into a live-in program. Yeah. It's obvious you can't do it on your own without, with AA outside. You need to be put in somewhere, or you're going to be put into jail soon. Yeah. You might as well pick the place and the intention of the place, like recovery, and just got to dive in. I spent 2 years because this life needed to be corrected and I couldn't correct it. So I surrendered myself to this program for 2 years. Now, there's a lot of stuff I didn't like, but a lot of stuff happened there that was incredibly valuable. Yeah. Because I could not hold the view of what I was. The people who ran that place did. They knew I was an addict and an alcoholic. They never saw me as this unique person, Paul. They saw me exactly as what I was, and it worked. My life was better with them running it than not with me running it. It was obvious. 2 years they had. It was a pretty big experiment. Did you think I lost that knowledge? No. When I got introduced to AA, I realized, man, I've surrendered to a lot of shit in this life. So yeah, I'm going to make a decision to turn my will and life over to the care of this higher power. Those decisions used to be made by the authorities. Go into jail, go into fucking juvenile hall, go in here, go in there. I've surrendered tons of times, unwillingly, to the police and shit. Oh, this is so foreign to me. It isn't foreign to me. AA was the greatest thing I've ever surrendered to. Greatest fucking thing. Greatest. It's given me more freedom. Yeah. The hope with the other things was if you had enough incarceration, maybe you would not act out so crazy. It didn't work in that way. But man, we've all surrendered to a lot of shit. But what's gonna make the surrender is what you surrender to. When I surrendered to recovery, it has produced the greatest effects of any surrender I've been under. The greatest effects. Yeah, so I think there's someone, Greg, once got a hand.
Yeah, hey Greg, how you doing? Can you unmute?
I'm pretty well. I just wanted to say I've been transfused.
Yeah, I've been transfused. Good.
Yeah, by the meeting.
Great. Yes.
Yes.
Well, exactly. That's why hopefully this is what happens. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. You can call it an enema. You can call it a divine colonoscopy. You can call it a lot of things. Yeah. It wasn't too painful, was it? No, you didn't even know things were working on you while you were sitting here.
Exactly.
That's the decision we made. And it says in the book, this power is going to constantly reveal to us a lot of shit. Well, this is a moment in constantly. So yeah.
I love how you explain in so many different levels and ways of how many things that we're not able to manage, like eating. I use that one a lot with sponsees. Like, whatever I eat, I'm not responsible for it. After it goes in my mouth and I swallow it, the body knows what to do with it. And I'm not the body. So, there's one really good example. And it's same thing with the transfusion, not my blood from someone else. And it's going to keep me alive the next couple of weeks, maybe more.
Yes, great. Yes.
Yeah.
When I got run over, I had a complete new blood because I had lost so much. So, yes. These things are, and look at how many things that your head said was a mistake that you ate that the fucking body dealt with?
Yeah.
How much mercy has the body shown you to your abusive behavior by what you put in it? Yeah. Incredible amount of leeway it's given us. Yeah. Really.
Not to mention the
Yeah.
drugs and all right.
Your head is trying to punish you for like 40 years for the slightest discretion, indiscretion. Yet the body is so fucking forgiving usually, yes? And if it's really bad, it gets it right out. You get diarrhea or something like that, yes? It doesn't start pointing the colon finger at you. And you'll probably make the mistake 50 fucking times and it'll still clean up after you. Yet your head is unbelievable, like a torture chamber. Yeah. I'm telling you, some of the shit people put in and the amount they put in and how forgiving the body is, for some, it gets overwhelmed. It can't take, but for years and years, it's the kidney, the liver has cleaned it up. It's just a very forgiving experience, isn't it? Could you imagine if you could just fart your mistakes out? You know what I mean? When instead of going to court, I just farted it out. It was great. Don't have to go to that jail for just fart, or it would be great. Yeah. But unfortunately, our acting out doesn't just affect the body. It comes out here. Yeah. And then we need to get arrested. We need to be fucking detained. Yes? Yes. But the body's unbelievable. You eat something, this was a mistake, you farted away. A couple hours later, your significant others, very, very obliging, and yeah. And then you're not farting the next 28 years, are you? No, you made a mistake, digested it the best it could, got rid of it. Yeah. Yeah. How are you treated? How are you treated from the head's point of view? How the fuck are you treated? Even though you have the experience of how forgiving the body is, constantly, how many mistakes have you made that the body recovered covered up? Millions, I'm sure. Yes? Oh, that little, I'm just going to eat this fucking jalapeno or something, whatever. Yeah. Fucking fire up the whole body. A couple days later, it's forgiven you. Yeah, you're all right. Fucking, you go on. Yes. Jesus Christ. When are you going to be relieved of those past transgressions? The body would have farted it out 20 years ago. Yeah. Or you would have thrown it up 28. Why is it you're just going over it, over it, over it? You're not, the head is. Why? Yeah, because we don't believe it can be any other way, but it can be. There is a solution. Yeah. The thoughts will continue, but the interest in them is going to change. Yeah. It's like hearing a radio station in the back room, not a fucking CNN news flash with alarms. Yes. Yeah. So there is a solution. This is important because the head would love for us to forget this. Yeah. Yeah. So go eat a fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich with ketchup. Yeah. It's a stupid fucking thing you'll do. The body will cover you. Couple of hours. Yeah. Yeah. You'll be forgiven. It doesn't remember a peanut butter jelly sandwich with ketchup 30 years ago. It doesn't. It's farted it out. That was it. Yes. What the hell's going on? So stop calling the body you and treating it like you treat you. The body's fucking pretty awesome if you just let it alone. Yeah. Yeah. The worst thing for the body is you to try to be the running of its healthy regimen. That's the worst fucking thing. Yeah. All right. Sorry. I'm going off. I'm getting off on this body idea though. It's amazing, really. You make a mistake, it farts it out, you know, a burp or something. It doesn't like a voice, you fucked up, you know? No, it's very forgiving. Do you get anything like that from the head? No fucking way. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to say goodbye and yeah. Greg, nice to see you. I'm happy you're transfused. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
We're always getting a transfusion of the blood of the spirit. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Michael Stacy, as always. Are you going to be there in the afternoon with us, Michael?
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
I'll be. Yep.
We have a 4:30 Pacific time meeting today. It's on another topic, but yeah, you're all welcome if you like. There's Mark S. Nice to see you, Mark. Yeah. Mickey Smith. Mickey. Yeah. Let's just do a group fart and forgive ourselves. Yes. Just think of all your sins and as a gas inside of you and just fart it out. Let's, when we're holding hands and saying a prayer. Steve, San Diego. There's Reed. Nice to see you, bro. Kathy, Gary, Placerville, Terry Camarillo. Thanks, Terry, for sharing today. Brian W. Yep. Miak, there she is in her our new abode. Roman Mueller, Axel, John.
Did the clocks change in America?
Volkman. I'm just going to say Volkman. Yes. That's
John, yes, they did.
Is that why I'm an hour late? Damn.
Yes.
Okay. I missed it.
It's okay, John. We're going to be around. You didn't
I'll
miss
check
it.
the video.
Yeah. Yeah. We have Miss Volkman. That's what I'm going to go with now. We got Oliver K. We had, oh, this is like the German row. We got Roman, Axel, Miss Volkman, Oliver. Wow. Kerry, he's in Hawaii. Mike M, Amy, Seattle, Andrew, Christine. Christine, I think, is in Kona. Yes. Christine Marie. She threw me a curve there. Kathleen in Florida. Yes. Wearing those elephant bells, baby. Patricia Goldman. Let's see. Phone numbers, Patricia, Kathleen, Christine. I think I got everyone. Hey, listen, thanks for coming today. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Mike, I'll see you later, right?
We need to remind people that we've changed to daylight time.
Yeah, all right. Well, did we? I need
Yeah.
to be reminded. Yeah. What time is it?
Are the two